what if I told you that you could get a 16-inch OLED display, an external GPU, and good battery life in an ultra-thin and absurdly light laptop? This is the LG Gram Pro 16-inch, and thank you to LG for sending this laptop and sponsoring this overview. Now, literally the moment you take it out of the box, the very first thing you notice is how thin and light it is. And even now, after using it for a couple of weeks, it still feels insanely light. If we compare it to something like the 15-inch MacBook Air, we're getting a larger display here. It's a bit thicker, but weighs about a half a pound less. And it's thinner and weighs 2 pounds less than the 16-inch MacBook Pro. Now, the display itself can be easily opened with one hand, and while the hinge feels nice and sturdy, there is some wobble to the display. But don't let the slim form factor fool you. The LG Gram Pro does have an 810H military standard rate. Now, it's pretty crazy to see how many ports LG was able to fit in such an ultra-thin design. We're getting 2 USB-C 4/Thunderbolt 4 ports and an HDMI 2.1 on the left, and then on the right we have 2 USB-A 3.2 ports and a 3.5mm headphone/mic input. And this is something that I would expect from a device that's labeled as Pro. Now, the only thing I wish we did have is an SD card reader, because I do a lot of video, but I know that that's super specific to me, and when you're dealing with such an ultra-thin and light laptop, you can't really have everything. For biometric authentication, we've got the IR camera for facial recognition with Windows Hello, and LG actually added some super cool security features with LG Glance by Mirametrix. So I love this. Like, basically the full HD camera can recognize you and how far you are from the laptop, and it also senses what your eyes are looking at and whether there's someone else around you. So when you leave your laptop, it can be set to automatically turn off the screen. It can blur the screen when you're looking away, and it can either show you an on-screen warning or blur the screen when there's someone looking over your shoulder. It can also do things like automatically pause the video when you leave your laptop and then begin playing it when you return. Plus, when you use a dual display setup, you can actually move a window and your cursor from one display to the other with your gaze, which is kind of bananas. Now, together with the laptop itself, we get a 90-watt charger and a USB-C cable, so we're getting super fast charging. And we'll talk more about the battery life after we cover the display. Now, I'm going to talk about the configuration options later on, but basically you can choose between a 16-inch LCD display, a 17-inch LCD display, and then a 16-inch OLED display, which is the one that I have. Now, both LCD displays have the same resolution, same 99% DCI-P3, and 400 nits of max brightness, along with a variable refresh rate between 31 and 144 Hz. The OLED display has a higher resolution, 100% DCI-P3, and a slightly lower range variable refresh rate of 48 to 120 Hz. And I don't really see this difference being a deciding factor for the overwhelming majority of users for this type of laptop. In both cases, we're getting super smooth animations and scrolling, and personally, I love the rich colors, the crisp image quality, and the dark blacks of the OLED display. It's fantastic for watching content. Obviously, it's going to work perfectly for typical office type work, and with how color accurate it is, I don't have any issues editing photos or videos. On top of that, there are also some features within the LG Smart Assistant to help protect the screen from burn-in. Now, of course, if you're sensitive to PWM, you may want to skip the OLED, and the one other thing that you don't get with the OLED display is an anti-glare coating. That's something that's only available with the LCD models. So basically, if this is a laptop that you're going to be primarily using for office type work, or if you're working outside a lot or in areas where you have to deal with bright lights, consider the LCD model. But if you're editing photos or videos at a level where color is super important to you, or if you're watching a lot of movies and videos and you want better image quality, then definitely get the OLED display. Now, one other reason to get the OLED display is a higher resolution, because even if you're just working with spreadsheets, documents, or web pages, you can see more on the screen at once without having to scroll. And right now, there's only a $200 difference to go from LCD to OLED, but there are a few other super important configuration options that I'm going to talk about later on, so just hold off with making a decision quite yet. Now, when it comes to battery life, there's one other consideration that we have to take into account, because you can choose between an internal GPU model, which comes with a 77 watt-hour battery, or an external GPU GPU model, which comes with a really nice 90 watt-hour battery, and that's the one that I have. Now, I've been getting between 7 and 9 hours of typical mixed use. Now, of course, that's going to come down to exactly what mixed use means for you, as well as how high you have your display brightness. And if all I'm doing is watching video, then I can get somewhere between 10 to 11 hours, which is plenty for me if I'm traveling. Now, of course, if I want the best battery life, I could switch it to best power efficiency mode. And if I needed additional performance, I could go with best performance, which is what I used for the benchmarks. So the LG Gram Pro is an Intel Evo edition, and it's powered by an Intel Core Ultra 7 155H processor. So we're getting good single core performance and then very good multi-core performance. And when we look at it side by side with something like a 15-inch M3 MacBook Air, we see that the MacBook Air comes out ahead for single core performance, but the LG Gram Pro has the edge in multi-core. For GPU performance, you can choose between an integrated Intel Arc or go with a discrete option of the NVIDIA RTX 3050 like I did. And you can see that even though it's not the latest gen chip, it very much holds its own when compared with everything but the highest end MacBook Pro, and it crushes a lot of the competition. And while you're not going to be playing AAA games at max settings, you can definitely play them with the graphics settings turned down, and for how thin and light it is, it does well with editing in Premiere Pro. Also, the 2024 model has a new fan design with two separate fans that definitely help keep the system cool when you push it to the limit. Now, another fun feature that I really liked is the LG Gram Link app, and it lets you connect up to 10 devices to the LG Gram Pro, and it works with both Android and iOS devices, which I think is awesome. So you could do things like use your mobile device as an additional display, you can wirelessly share files from your mobile device to the LG Gram Pro, or you can mirror your mobile device right to your laptop's display. There's also an AI-powered gallery, which is an integrated AI function that automatically categorizes photos saved on the LG Gram Pro laptop. It also simplifies image search through keyword identification. Now, this is typically something that we see on phones, and it's kind of nice to have it on a larger display where you can see your photos better. And speaking of AI, because this is a Windows laptop, you can use the Microsoft Copilot AI assistant to help you summarize notes or quickly look up information.
Who won the NBA Finals in 2016?
In 2016, the Cleveland Cavaliers won the NBA Finals, defeating the Golden State Warriors.
Now, the keyboard on the LG Gram Pro has been pretty good. The backlit keys are nice and big, they're evenly spaced, and they've been very comfortable to type on considering how thin the chassis is. LG was also able to fit a number pad on the right. It's a little bit cramped and the buttons are smaller, but when I'm working with spreadsheets and numbers, I still use it every time. Now, the trackpad is nice and big. It's been responsive and accurate. It is a springboard design, so it's easier to press towards the bottom, and it works great for two-finger scrolling or when I pinch to zoom. The camera is 1080p. Now, the top bezels on the display are a bit thicker, so there's no need for a notch, and here's a quick sample. Here's a camera and microphone sample of the LG Gram Pro. This should give you a pretty good idea of the type of image quality that you're going to get and the type of audio quality that you should expect. All right, so now let's talk about the configuration options and pricing, because there's a lot of options and there are some great discounts going on right now. Now, as I mentioned, I have the 16-inch OLED display and I have 32 gigabytes of super fast LPDDR5X 7467 megahertz RAM. It's running in dual channel mode, but it's not upgradable. I also have 2 terabytes of M.2 NVMe PCIe Gen 4 SSD storage. It's actually 2 1 terabyte sticks and they are upgradable, so if you end up wanting to do that in the future, that's not going to be a problem. Now, I think a good comp for this laptop is the 15-inch M3 MacBook Air, which is slightly thinner, but it's also heavier. The Mac does have better battery life and is completely silent because it has no fans, but with the MacBook, we're getting a 60 Hz LCD display versus a 120 Hz OLED display on the LG Gram Pro. The MacBook Air has better single-core performance, but the LG Gram Pro comes out ahead for multi-core performance, which is more likely to come into play when you're pushing your laptop. It's definitely a better option for most gaming applications and for users who either prefer Windows or whose workflow requires Windows. The LG Gram Link integration is great for cross-platform users, and being able to upgrade the internal storage is a nice bonus these days. So if you're looking for an unbelievably light and portable laptop that has an amazing display, very good CPU and GPU performance, and plenty of ports, check out the 2024 LG Gram Pro. Now you should watch this comparison. You know what I always say, buy it nice or buy it twice. Good luck and see you soon.